A very good evening to everybody watching. Thank you for joining us again on this edition of the Evening Review. My name is Taiwan Jabela. Tonight on the platform, we are joined by Walter Haseb. He is a senior traditional councillor within the Khomanin Traditional Authority. And Walter is here to help contextualize some of the remarks that were made last week on the show regarding issues of land within that traditional community and allegations that somehow some people are being kept out of reach for that land as opposed to others. Thank you very much, Walter, for making time. I think it's important that we clarify some of the issues. Sean Gariseb was here last week.
Yes.
And among the things that he said was that first, of course, we'll go item by item. But the one that I want you to start with first is the allegation that this land that was given to avail to the traditional authority by the ministry, and somehow that the community only found out by accident that there was actually such land given to the traditional authority for further distribution to the people. What can you tell us about that?
Good evening, viewers, and thank you for having me. Sometimes it is very important that we need to clarify this issue.
Yeah.
And we should also be mindful and careful how we are handling the land question, because it is a very sensitive issue. It is good that this issue has come out. Let me give you a little bit of a background. The traditional authority leadership has been pledging from the government the day when the late president was there. And then also we had a petition and a march to the then acting president, Nangolo Mbumba. And what transpired is in 2024, December, the land was given to the traditional authority at an official function where the media was invited at a farm. And after that, we could not really go and give people their land rights. The reason being, after consultation with the ministry responsible for the land, they said that no, first a land board must be established. However, last year, when we had meetings with the Honorable Minister and the officials, senior officials, it was agreed that in the absence of the land board, we must then allocate temporary grazing rights to our community members. Because some of our community members are currently have been in the corridors. So having said that, there was a committee that was constituted by Her Majesty Councillor, consisting of myself as a special advisor, a senior headman Rudolf Vetwien, who is also a member of the resettlement committee, who is representing us there. And then we have a land and a ancestral land expert, senior headman Bernard Hâseb. And then the committee also consists of the vice chair lady of the Khomanin Traditional Authority, which is senior head woman Jacqueline Stearman. Now, after that, we had a consultative meetings. And at the consultative meetings, before we went, I personally called the members of the concern group, asking them to nominate people who we are going to resettle at the farm. And then I had consultative meetings. And then one of the criteria that we had at the time is that you must be a registered member of a Khomanin traditional community. And also you must be evicted. Secondly, you must have some animals, but then you are renting at private farms and at the areas where our people have been sort of resettled. So those were the criteria that we had. On and above that, we make use of the customary law as certain, and I have brought all the documents today here because I want to paraphrase them. We have the Namibian Constitution, we have the Traditional Authorities Act, as well as the customary law as certain. Now, within the context of the customary law as certain, there are criteria that says only the chief has the power to allocate land to the people. And again, we must also take cognizance of the fact that within the Namibian constitution, it is stated that the customary law can only be applicable as long as it is not in contradiction with the Namibian constitution. Now, who are the people that can be resettled at the farm? You must be a Khomanin, a registered Khomanin member, who can be resettled, who can be considered for that. It is one of the qualifying criteria. Secondly, your mom or your father must be a Khomanin. And meaning that other members from the other traditional community can also be considered as qualifying applicants. And then thirdly, no foreigner can be resettled under the farm that is under the jurisdiction of the Khomanin. There is only one condition that says that unless that person is married to a Khomanin, and secondly, if that person is having a permanent residence. Those are the legislature governing the customary law of the Khomanin. And within the traditional authority, it is clearly stated that the chief, he or she must govern the people within the confines of the customary law. Yes, there were media reports that we have taken people there. People have been informed. Me personally have also consulted with Sean and the other members of the concerned group. We had 3 meetings that are on record, one at the Korassie farm, one at the residence where we are having our offices in Dola, and 2 meetings in December and 1 in January, where we have been discussing these issues. What was the point that we have a stalemate? The point was because they said we must give them the names of the 35 people that we are going to allocate. We said it's not procedural that we can do that in terms of the Customary Reform Act, which states that first we must submit this information to the minister. And once these people are having certificates, then the minister will hand over the certificate, then there will be a public press review where this information will be shared with them. And that is where we are.
Okay. So thank you for that elaborate answer, Walter. So the 35, what can you tell us about those? How were they selected? I know that you mentioned some criteria, but which of those criteria have they sort of ticked off to qualify?
First and foremost, the first qualifying criteria was those people that have been evicted from the commercial farms and that have been residing in the corridors, like the people from Aris, the people from Tortabes area, those people that have been evicted and was in the corridors. Those were the first people, first beneficiaries. Secondly, we said, good, let's look at those people that are having animals and that are renting, but they are from Khomanin descent. Those are the people that we can consider. And those people that are also in the settlements where our people are residing, for example, in Khurot, Ognawasun, Arofle, Farm Faciles, where our people are there, but these people are having many heads of cattle. And those areas, as we know, is a drought is a reality there, in the absence of the better word. So we have considered those people. And thereafter, we have considered those that needed land, that have requested for us.
Sorry, please proceed.
That have requested from us for them to be allocated land at our communal land. Yes, let me pause there.
Okay. So maybe just also, one of the allegations that Sean alluded to here was that somehow some beneficiaries are not actually members of this community. I saw Wambo, Shwambo speaking people are supposedly also part of that. What can you tell us on record about that?
Yeah, on record, it is true. But what were the justification criteria that we were making use at the time? We purely made use of the stipulations of the customary law as set. If, for example, a lady is married to another traditional community, I'm not going to make use of the terminology that they are using, because one has to be mindful of the policy of national reconciliation, policy against tribalism and all those things. And as leaders, we have to be careful also the words that we are using at these platforms, even though other people are using it in mainstream media. That I'm not going to justify that and use that. I'm going to say other traditional community members. Now, other traditional community members, you see, you have to understand the background of Khomanin. If you come to Khomanin, you will see that there were a lot of intermarriages. This is a public forum, but one of their people who is in the prominent leadership positions have relationship with other traditional authorities and are also having children there. Now, the question remains, if somebody is married to another traditional community member, irrespective of the provisions of the Namibian constitution, which prohibits those exercises that we are now having as a discussion point right now, is that if a person is married, according to our customary law, that person can be considered to be resettled by the chief. That is what our customary law says. So we have considered those people that are either married, whether it's a woman, whether it's a man, but then they have applied and we have considered them. Because there are intermarriages, and in intermarriages, there is no way that you are going to find pure Khomanin. You will find, for example, even so, we need to question that. Even me, as I'm sitting here, you need to question, am I purely a Khomanin? My man is a Khomanin, but my father is from the Hinqom traditional community. So does it mean that there is no justifications? There were intermarriages, and those things were done because of the social injustices that has been committed by our people, and our people has to move up. Even our queen's grandchildren are having a father that is not Khomanin. So we have to be mindful about these things when we are discussing these things. First, you must take out whatever is in your eye before you are going to make criticize somebody else. But the bottom line is, as far as Khomanin is concerned, and as far as the historical concern of the Khomanin are concerned, there are Khomanin people that have been forcefully removed from here and moved to areas like Sores and so on. Those have also intermarriage with other people. There were people that have came with contract labor and that has married with our mothers. So what are we going to do with that? That is a question for another debate. But the bottom line is, this person is a Khomanin person, is a registered person. We can go down on his ancestry line and we can find out, yes, it is or not. But we should not promote tribalism. Once we are promoting tribalism, it's very dangerous. It can create civil strife. And on the basis of tribalism, and I am saying right now on record, that nowhere did we contravene the Namibian constitution, nor did we contravene the Traditional Authorities Act, nor did we contravene, and that's why I brought the documentation here, of the customary law as certain, that has guided us through that when we were doing this process.
Absolutely. We go for a very short break and return with Walter Haseb. We are talking to Walter Haseb, who is a senior representative of the Khomanin Traditional Authority here in Khomas region. Let's further ventilate that subject of people of origins from elsewhere that appear on that list. I think Sean's point was that in a very extraordinary situation that your community finds itself in, completely deprived of land, probably like no other tribe in the country at the moment, no other community in the country at the moment. that kind of situation required that at least the priority is really your original, if you like, members of the community. Of course, there is the One Namibia, One Nation, and also the element that you spoke about. But if Toivo Njabela is married within the Khomanin community, I'm from the north, I'm from Omsat region, I come here, I find myself, the love of my life within your community, and then somehow, by virtue of that, I'm resettled at that farm. It's quite contentious, isn't it?
I wouldn't say it is contentious, because first, if you look at the number of the people that has been resided, it's probably 1% or 2% of that figure that we are talking about.
Yeah.
Maybe 5 or 3 or 5 out of the 35 that we have resettled there.
Yeah.
That is the bottom line. Secondly, as a traditional authority, we are guided by the laws that we have to adhere to.
Yeah.
So if, for example, let me use an example of one of our prominent leaders previously. His daughter went to marry somebody from outside the tribe.
Yeah.
Is that a justification? Only that criteria that he have married outside the common traditional community for that person to be considered. Then, if that person takes me to the court, we as a traditional leadership is going to lose on the constitutional test. So there is no way, if the person qualifies for all the other portions, the person is evicted, the person is having animals but is renting somewhere else, the person is also residing in that area. Those are the qualifying criteria which the person applies for as in Khomanin.
So in other words, those boxes have been ticked off.
Those boxes have been ticked off.
They are truly in situations that you listed to say you have to have been evicted, you have to have this and this. Those boxes are ticked off, and then in addition to that, they then just happen to be of that ethnic identity, but other boxes are ticked off.
Other boxes are ticked off.
Okay.
Yeah, so other boxes are ticked off, whether the person was either evicted, or if not evicted, whether the person is renting for his animals, for the grazing, or the person is having animals in the areas that I have mentioned. And the person that has applied is a Khomanin. It's only her husband or her wife, his wife, that is not Khomanin. Yeah. So, and it's a known person from one of the leaders that were there. Yeah. So in that case, we cannot. You see, as I alluded earlier, it will be very difficult to discriminate against a person on the basis. There is no way that we are going to tell our children that as of today, starting today, Khomanin must only date Khomanin. Yeah. We cannot do that. It will be irresponsible, and it will be tribalistic. We will be contravening the Namibian constitution. And then we have the policy of national reconciliation. Then in terms of the Namibian constitution, each and every person has the right to reside where he or she can. Now, on the basis of 2 constitutional provisions, if we just based on that refuse that person, then we can be taken to court. And mind you, I can guarantee you that we are going to lose that court case. Yeah.
I'm being a devil's advocate now. So, out of those 35, obviously the 35 is not the sum total of people of your community that are in similar situations. There ought to be maybe it's 35 out of 200 or 100 more that are also in those situations, in corridors, in renting nearby farms and plots and whatnot. How do you arrive at those 35 specifically? What sort of vetting processes were used so that you can say, yes, we took Walter instead of Toivo, but I mean, they both qualified and we only have this much space for them, for those affected. But how Walter got selected ahead of Toivo, this is what we followed.
Yeah. Allow me to beg to differ with you. When we say out of those applicants, 1 or 2 were not Khomanin members.
Yeah. I'm talking now
yeah.
in general,
Yeah.
not the non-Khomanin per se, but just to say, even if you were now purely Khomanin, not by marriage or any other criteria, but you were born and bred, you are Damara speaking, you are from this area and all that. But there are more Damara speaking people from this region that fall under the same jurisdiction. When this one gets the nod ahead of this one, how did you navigate that space?
That's what I wanted to clarify.
Yeah.
All 35 people are Khomanin.
Okay.
Some of the 35 people out of maybe 4 are married to different tribes.
Yes.
That needs to be clarified. So we did not put any person who is not a Khomanin.
Yes.
By application, all the people are Khomanin. It's only that they are married with different traditional community members. Those that have applied. That must be clarified. Yeah. All of them are Khomanin.
I get that part.
Okay.
That they are Khomanin. But it could also be that when one Khomanin is selected to be part of the 35 and one Khomanin is left out, just so that people do not say, oh, this one was selected on the basis of being close to Walter Haseb. They are all Khomanin. Some didn't make it, some made it. So the Khomanin identity, that one is sorted. But it's just to say the Khomanin who have been selected and those that have been left out, what criteria applied in that sense, so that you can defend yourself at any platform about that.
Let me put it this way. All the members of the consent group that were there are not registered with the Khomanin Traditional Authority.
Yeah.
And due to the fact that they are not registered, they were not considered.
Yeah.
As I alluded earlier, we had meetings with them. We asked them to go and register. None of them were prepared to go and register with the Traditional Authority. Yeah. So when we were considering for the allocation of land to these people, we considered those people that have been registered.
But are you telling me, Walter, that everybody who has been registered has gotten allocation? Because I'm trying to maybe I'm not clear, not clarifying myself very well. So let's assume that 60 people have registered. 60.
Yeah.
And due to only maybe 35 spaces being available, you then allocated to only 35 out of 60.
Yeah.
So the question is around just how those 35 were selected. Everybody else that registered met all the criteria, but you don't have enough for the 60 people.
Definitely.
Yeah, so around that, just how you navigated, how you said, yes, you all meet the criteria, but we go for this one.
Yeah.
So that people don't say, oh, only those that are close to Walter and the Queen and got allocated for argument's sake.
So it is alleged that I said there is 3,500 land applications.
Yeah.
That needs also in itself clarification. But it is more than that.
Okay.
When we were in consultations with the Line Ministry, we even give up names up to 10,000.
Yeah.
Because Khomanin surely are not 3,500. They are more than that. Yeah. But when we were asked, we went to the farms and we write down our people that are there. Now, coming to the crunch of the matter, what were the criteria used?
Yeah.
First list was allocated to those that have been evicted. We have also been given a guideline by the Line Ministry indicating that you can only have so many households there, due to the fact that the other part is for the hunting farm and the other part is for the lodge, and we do not have any revenue stream. And besides that, we should also look at the animals that we are going to keep there. We must not have too many animals so that it cannot destroy the grazing. So we consider those ones first that have been evicted. Secondly, we consider those ones that said we have animals and we are renting from who, and the renting is so much. Yeah. Then we consider those that are in the areas, pocket areas, where our people are staying. And on that basis, we have used the criteria, and then we look at the people that have been registered. Yeah. Again, we have looked also at the list of when did the people apply, when did those of them register. So those that have been registered, for example, in 2015, those were the people that were receiving in criteria. So we cannot consider a person that went and applied now for the application, because then it will be unfair. So we did a due diligence when we were doing this, because we were anticipating these questions to come. And as a chairperson of the committee that was doing the selection criteria, I had to do a test on issues so that we should not be challenged again. So that was the basis of the selection process.
Absolutely.
And also we have requested the concerned group under Sean and the other people that are there, that they must give us the names of the people that they felt at the time should be considered for resettlement at the farm. But they did not, up to now, I have to put it on record, they did not submit and they did not go and register. So there is no way that they can be considered. But we are going to consider those people that have came and that have registered with our traditional authorities office.
Absolutely. Walter, we've run out of time, but I just want to ask you if you can answer this within a few seconds. The allocated land, those 35 have, there's no more, I mean, they have sort of filled the quota, or that was just the first batch of people, there's still space to allocate on that farm?
No, there is no space to allocate those farms. And if people are going to enter illegally, we are living into the constitutional democracy where rule of law is there. And if people are there illegally, then we are going to ask the law enforcement officers to deal with that. We are not going to take the law into that. If people illegally enter the farm, break the laws and start with the land grabbing, then obviously the law will deal with them, not us.
Absolutely. Thank you for coming around.
Thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure.
Sure. That is Walter Haseb, is from the Khomanin Traditional Authority, just clarifying and contextualizing issues about the allocation of land on a farm donated to the Traditional Authority by government last year. Thank you for watching.
Thank you.